So how do drivers in Blender work? I can't say that I'm an expert, not yet, on drivers. Many times when I have downloaded like a rigged character done by somebody who's like an expert in rigging, and so I have noticed that there have been drivers attached to that model, and I've been like perplexed and also a little bit in awe, like, oh wow, this must be so complicated to do. Then I started trying out the drivers and noticed that like the principle wasn't that complicated to understand. There is some well, maths involved, and I can't say that that I totally understand that yet, but I'll show you the part that I know how to do, and hopefully after that you are able to go deeper in that subject if you want to. So let's start by sharing my screen and going to Blender. So here I have created just this, well, I've just opened Blender and there is the basic cube, which I'm going to push aside for a while because I could use the drivers for the cube, but yeah, let's make something with a little bit more geometry. Maybe I'll give the cube also more geometry later, but let's have like a UV sphere, which should make it more interesting. And I'll go to the options here. Yeah, I think this is okay. Make the radius a little bit bigger, maybe 1.7. And because I usually like to see things in colors rather than gray, I'm going to give the sphere a material and a little bit of color. Okay. And then what else do I want to have here? Maybe like a plane where things happen. That's also just for decoration, really. And put the plane a little bit downwards and give it also some material, some color. Okay. That'll do. Maybe not so shiny. Okay, back to the sphere that I made. And so how am I going to use this as a driver? So first of all, I need to have some sort of transformations, and preferably interesting ones. So I'm going to add some modifiers there for the sphere. So the reason I'm putting these modifiers is that you can then clearly see the transformations happening. Okay, let's try. Yeah, I've had some interesting results with a simple deform modifier, and I'll make a couple of these. Let's first try out the, if I try out the like simple stretch on an x-axis, let's see what happens. Not much. So but you can see that the sphere is changing. The mesh is changing, but it doesn't look specifically interesting. Let's see if bend is better. So this is already a little bit more interesting. Let's try it with the y-axis. I could add an origin object there, where it would be following the origin object. And yeah, why not? This is the bend is kind of interesting. I might be using that. Yeah, taper is not bad either. Whoomp, whoomp, boom, 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 boom. Yeah, this is kind of fun. So you can see that these go in the different axes. Let's put that back to 0. Yeah, so I think the z-axis was most interesting in the taper. Okay, how about stretch? Also not bad in this z-axis. So maybe I'll start the deformation with the stretch. There we go. That's a kind of a time. What's a D-Marcy in English? Time.
Hourglass.
Hourglass. Yes. Thank you. And I'll make another modifier too, which is this also simple deform, but this time I'm going to use, instead of stretch, I'm going to use something else. Maybe bend. Yeah, so this way I could put the hourglass dancing. Oh, this is getting weird. Okay, I'll stay with the y-axis. So these are the deformations for now. And what I want to do is I want to make a driver object, which will be an empty object, which won't be rendered if I ever want to render the scene. And then I can, when I'm moving that driver object, I can then move these modifiers at the same time. So one object is telling another object what to do, so to say. And I will also combine both of these modifiers into that one driver object. But let's first create that driver object. So Shift and A, and I want to go to the empty, and I'll use the first one, plane axis. Some people, especially when they make models, they instead of making an empty object, they make like a single bone where they add the different drivers, which is fine too, because bones won't be rendered either. But so it doesn't have to be an empty object. It can be any object, but like I said, I'm choosing the empty object because it won't render. there it is, and I'll move it a little bit further. And instead of empty, I'll call it driver 1, so that I can remember what it was, because when I'm creating the driver, I must name it. And let's go see if it's in a good position here, that I can get to it easily. Yeah, I think so. And as I'm decorating here, I'll make a second light as well. Okay. So for now, I don't need to do anything else for the driver, but I need to click on the object itself and these modifiers where I want to create the driver. So also creating the driver is that easy once you know how to do it. So for the first one, the stretch, I will first click here on the factor, and then, well, actually I won't click there, we'll just directly right click. And then there's insert keyframe with I, which you probably know already. And then there's the add driver and open drivers editor. So I'll add the driver, and this is something what you have to be careful that once you have left the driver window, then it will go away completely. So as long as you are here, you have to do your stuff. So don't wander away. There is a driver's editor window, which you can then click here to show it once you have created this. So, okay, what is the driver? I'm keeping this to the scripted expression and won't do anything there. The 2.7 is what I originally gave there as the variation, although I could make it bigger here as well if I wanted to. And here, this red place is the important place where I will define the object. I can either take the eyedropper and then click on the object in the window, or I can just click here, left click here, and search for my driver. There it is. So that this I find more easy. And then, okay, I think it took quite a big value here for some reason. It made the 2.7 into 7. Not sure why it did that. Let's see if I put it smaller to 1.5, what happens. Okay, it's smaller now. Let's try out 1. Even smaller. So then what else I have to define? I have to define the type. This is about how I will move the driver. So if it moves in the X location, does it change like that? Or do I want to have it as one of the rotation axis? I think the rotation, I want to do the rotation axis here. So maybe the X rotation. But so there are no right or wrong things here necessarily. Another thing that I will change is that the space is, instead of world space, it will be local space. And you see that the way the object looks like has changed again. So I'm pretty sure that these are the reason for that is here. but yeah, I would just need to try out and see what kind of logic it is, or go to the documentation and see what Blender's own documentation is saying, which I have read, by the way, but didn't get that much wiser about it. The Finnish saying would be "en tullut hullua hurskaamaksi." Probably I should have concentrated my mind a little bit more to it. Anyway, if I would like to see this in the driver's editor, I could open that up from here. This is what the window looks like. And you can see that this is the object, and there's the first driver for it. So there can be several drivers for one object. And I haven't used this so much that I would know properly how to use this, for instance. But those who are more experts than me, they would know. Anyway, I'm going to go away from this window and now test if my driver is working. So I think I put it into the X rotation. A wise person would have written it down somewhere. Okay, the X rotation is this axis here. As you notice, I like to use this, although I could just click on the keyboard, click R and X and have the X rotation from there. Okay, so, and it seems not to be working. Interesting. Did I do something wrong when I rotate the other axis? Also not working. Also not working. So it seems that I made a mistake somewhere in my process. So I'll need to do this again. Or let's go first to the, but you can see that the it is there, and I have created the expression. So maybe the problem was that the factor was too low in the end. Okay, let's try this other one, if I'm able to make it work with the bending. Okay, let's add the driver. And let's add the object, which is the driver1 object. And instead of world space, I'll put local space, and this time I'll use the Y location. So let's not use the rotation at all. Okay, and now I go away, and this should now work. Let's see if it does. The Y location. Oh, it works with the location, but it somehow didn't work out with the rotation. But I'm pretty sure my mistake was changing the var number there. Anyway, so let's make a third driver for this object, and I'll use, and I make a new modifier for it. So let's still use the simple D4, and now let's put some stretch into it. Okay, this is just silly. Okay, this might be weird enough to be okay-ish. Okay, the first stretch didn't work out, so I'll try to make a second stretch here. Maybe that will work. So let's go and add the driver again to the same object, to my driver object, to the empty one. And this time I'll change it. Did I have the Y location earlier? So this time
Yes.
I'll change it to the Z location and change it to local space. And let's see how that works out. Okay, for some reason it didn't like the rotations, but the locations are fine for now. But by now you should understand what drivers are and how they work. And you can, so let's go into one of the characters that I made and make a, and I'll make a driver for one of the shape keys, or maybe a couple of the shape keys. So go. Recent. Okay, here I actually have created a driver already with this character. So let's see but there is only one thing attached, if I remember correctly. Yes, when I'm moving this up, then the eyelids go down. So I did also have some shape keys for the mouth. So I will add one of these to the driver as well. Okay, so maybe it could be the happiness. Or maybe the fear. It's not, I'm not actually happy with the fear yet. Okay, I'll have the closing of the mouth attached to this driver. Let's just see what I called it. I called it iDriver. Maybe not the best name for it, if it's also supposed to go with the mouth, but yeah, let's go with it for now. I'm a little bit worried that I don't see it in the iDriver in my scene collection. But yes, here we have the closed mouth thingy, and I'll just give it some value already, although I'm not. Yeah, and I'll right click and add a driver, and now there's the iDriver object, and I think it was the Z location that was closing the eyelids. So I could use the same, of course, but yeah, let's keep it with the X location, and local space is usually better than world space, I've been taught. Okay, let's see if it works. And now I won't be changing this to anything else. Let's see how it goes. So mouth is closed while I'm moving my driver object. So it's not more complicated than this, or it doesn't have to be. But when you read the documentation and also watch some tutorials online, then you will notice that there are quite many more complex things with drivers, as it is with all the things in Blender. You can always go deeper. Okay, I'll stop sharing. Well, maybe I won't stop sharing yet. So do you have questions at this point? Everything seems clear to you? That's
Yep.
very positive. And I was also right on time with making with half an hour